Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the final week of the regular legislative session. We're actually day 56. This is outside the echo chamber. I am your host today, Doug Scaff, president of HD Media, and your minority leader of the House of Delegates, where we sit right outside the House of Delegates chambers here. And as you can see, there's a lot of flurry going on behind us here. It's actually Motorsports Day at the Capitol. Everything from race cars to Hatfield-McCoy Trail and you name it. So there's always a specific day going on, and it's good to see all the exhibitors behind us. You know, we have a lot of big issues going on. It's the last few days, a lot of stuff under the dome here. We're coming to you live with all the hot topics. We have not shied away from many of the controversial issues, but we have an exciting bill that we want to talk to you about today. But before we get to that, we're also going to take a look at later today about Senate Bill 586, which would allow high school students to transfer schools and retain their athletic eligibility. A very controversial bill that passed in the Senate almost unanimously, but some say it would turn this into the wild, wild west of high school athletics. So we'll be talking to the Secondary Schools Activities Commission Executive Director, Bernie Dolan. We'll be talking to the lead sponsor, Senator Ryan Weld, and we'll also be talking to boys basketball coach Rick Green. But first, on an effort to get West Virginians back to work, we have encouraging employees possibly to do a tax credit to provide child care services, which is Senate Bill 656. It would provide a tax credit in parts of the year when businesses offer on-site daycare. So joining us right now is Brian Dayton. Brian is Vice President of Policy and Advocacy for West Virginia Chamber of Commerce. It's a strong supporter of this legislation. So Brian, let's get right into it. I mean, it's common knowledge. Employers are struggling to get people back to work. Do you think providing daycare will help get them back to work?
Well, absolutely, Doug, and that's why we came up with this bill. First of all, we have members located in all 55 counties. They employ over half of West Virginia's workforce, and the thing we're hearing constantly right now is a struggle to find workers. We have available jobs in West Virginia, but we can't find people to fill those jobs. And a major reason for that is the availability or lack of availability of childcare in West Virginia. So that's what we had in mind when we initially proposed what is now Senate Bill 656. The companion bill was House Bill 4760 in the House. But it was that in mind of what can we do to encourage employers to create child care facilities that would be beneficial to the employers looking to attract and retain workers, but also something very beneficial for the employees that would have the ability to have their children being watched very close by to their workplace and just really help get people back into the workforce.
Well, you know, with COVID, there's a lot of things over the last 2 years that a lot of challenges, maybe unemployment being too high, maybe people can't find help to watch their kids. It's a different type of workforce now, and especially when it comes to women. I think, we have a 50% rate of women in the workforce. And so do you think that this will, employers are ready to take this on as a way to get people back to the workforce?
Well, that's certainly the hope, and we've heard from a number of employers in our membership that are very excited about this bill. You just hit on something that I think is very important for people to understand. West Virginia has the lowest workforce participation rate in the nation, and we're about 54.9%. But for females, it is even lower. It's, again, the lowest nation, but it's about half. That means half of your working age population is actually in the workforce for females. And a big reason for that is the need to go ahead and take care of children. Yeah. First of all, it's very expensive, but another major problem is finding available slots in daycare. Anecdotally, we have heard from people who, the second they found out they were expecting a child, they would get on a wait list and then sometimes get a call back when the child is 1 or 2 or 3 years old.
Believe me, I know. I have three kids under the age of 5, and especially in rural West Virginia, how hard it is to find adequate daycare.
Absolutely, and that's a major challenge. If you can't find that daycare, a lot of people are making the decision. They might want to work, but they have to stay home. So that is what we're trying to do here, is to solve that problem.
So do you think, you have a lot of employers under the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, are you hearing from them? You think they'll buy into this, or you think they'll offer it, as a way, another set of them? There are a lot of reasons they say we want to get employees back to work. This is one that you all have identified. And are other states, have you seen any other states try this?
So we have heard that other states are looking at different types of schemes to go ahead and encourage this. What we looked at is we looked around the country, and Georgia has a similar law in place to incentivize people. But we also recognized that West Virginia is quite different than Georgia. For example, they have the Atlanta metro area. We have Charleston, Morgantown, much smaller areas. We also have only about 115 employers in West Virginia that have more than 500 employees. So Georgia gave us the initial idea, but what we said is we have to make this workable for small businesses. And that's why this bill, we're very happy through everything that we've been working on, allows small businesses to join together. So if you have all your businesses on Main Street, or if you have several businesses in an office building, this bill would allow them to join together. And
still take advantage of the tax incentive?
And in that case, the proportion of the tax credit they would get would be proportional to their investment in the facility.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. Do they really want to get into the daycare business, and do they have enough employees? I think because by definition, a small business is 50 or less employees, I believe. And so you're saying they can pull their people together to provide for daycare.
Yes, under this bill, they would be able to pull their people together and provide a daycare center. They would be able to go ahead and obviously contract with somebody to operate that who has experience doing so. But it was important for us to make sure that a small business would have the ability to pull together.
So logistically, real quick. So this bill, what does this bill actually do? How does it incentivize the employers? And is it for profit or nonprofit as well?
So let me go ahead and give the answer. Let me give you this. We're probably expecting some changes in House Finance today that we've worked on all weekend. So what it would do is if you're an employer, whether you're a for-profit corporation, a nonprofit employer, or a pass-through entity, which many of our small businesses are, if you start a child care facility, you would be eligible for, under what we expect the change to be coming, a 50% tax credit taken over 5 years. And that credit would be taken on building improvements, furniture, fixtures, construction, and first-year operating costs. So it is very much an all-encompassing credit, but we're really trying to incentivize people with a significant credit to start these facilities. That's the change we expect to be coming today, would be 50% over 5 years.
So this bill passed the Senate on March 1st, 30-2.
Yes.
There's two. What was the opposition? There was two people. What was their concerns?
We don't know. We believe we had alleviated the concerns of one, but apparently not. And 30-2 is a pretty big number.
That's a pretty good number.
We'll take that.
So where does it go next? What's your anticipation? As you know, it comes across over here to the House of Delegates. Where's the bill now, and what's your expectations for it?
So it's in House Finance. They were expecting it to be on this afternoon's agenda, and so our hope is to get it out in good shape today and to get it to the floor so that we can go ahead and first, second, third reading over here and then get it back over to the Senate.
Yeah, because those days are numbered. We're day 56. We only have a few days left. Well, there you heard it right here from Brian Dayton, Vice President Policy for the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce. Yes. I really thank you for being here today. It's an interesting concept. We're all trying to do our part to get people back to work. Those statistics were, again, West Virginia's workforce participation rate, lowest in the nation right now, 54.9. And especially with females, you said, I think about 50%. Yes. So you think this will help definitely jumpstart
it has. In our workforce participation rate, it's been improving, but we got to do a lot more. We got to accelerate that.
We've seen how everyone's working differently now, especially with COVID and the remote workforce. So, well, you heard it right there, everybody. Brian Dayton, thank you for being on our show today.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing where the bill goes, and we'll see what happens in House Finance. Well, we'll take a quick break here on Outside the Echo Chamber, and we come back, we're going to have Senator Mark Maynard. Mark Maynard will be here to talk about Motorsports Day under the dome.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We are journalists, staff writers, editors, storytellers. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
What started as the Parmar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Parmar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Parmar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Parmar store near you now, you will soon. Parmar Convenience Stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
Here in West Virginia, we're known as hard workers, friendly faces, and people with a caring spirit. At Summit Community Bank, those qualities are at the core of all that we do. We're a group of experienced professional bankers that you've known for many years. We work hard to earn your business and will work even harder to help you succeed. We customize banking solutions that work for you. We're Summit Community Bank. Service beyond expectations.
Proudly advocating for workers and their families, the West Virginia AFL-CIO is a group of 600 labor organizations representing 70,000 active and 70,000 retired union members. We represent first responders, healthcare workers, educators, coal miners, construction workers, plant workers, truck drivers, grocery store clerks, and every job in between. We believe every worker has the right to fair wages, good benefits, and a safe workplace. That's what the West Virginia AFL-CIO fights for every day.
The relationship between a lawyer and a client is based on trust. You have to make certain that the lawyer you hire has your best interests at heart. We typically meet our clients at the worst times of their lives, and it's our job to help them. Over the years, we've been entrusted with some of the biggest cases in West Virginia. That's because we have a track record of success and getting exceptional results. We built a reputation as one of the go-to law firms throughout the state of West Virginia.
Joining me, high-profile lawyer Ben Salango. Ben, it's a real honor to have you on.
In fact, many of our cases come from other lawyers. Lawyers who've worked with us, lawyers who've worked against us, and even those who've merely heard of our results. We're proud of the reputation we've earned in the community for providing exceptional, aggressive legal representation. When you hire my law firm, you don't get excuses, you get results.
People keep asking me how Todd Judy Ford has the best selection of vehicles at a time of national shortage.
The secret is our 130% of Kelly Blue Book for your trade-in.
Everyone wants to trade the car with us and get more money.
And now we're making it even better.
We will beat any other dealer's trade offer by $1,000 guaranteed.
If we can't beat it, we'll just give you the cash.
So bring in that car, upgrade your vehicle, and get top dollar for your trade-in now.
Just go to ToddJudyFord.com and see for yourself.
We know who we are, where we've been, where we're going. Like hospitals all over America, we are changing, redefining, restructuring ourselves to be the best community health system in the region we serve. We are 2 hospitals with more than 30 locations, 450 providers, and 1 mission: to heal. As one, we are Thomas Health, caring for our communities today and tomorrow.
Well, hey, everyone. Welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber. You know, it's Motorsports Day here at the Capitol. We thought it would be great to have one of the biggest fans of motorsports, Senator Mark Maynard, good friend of mine. He covers Wayne County, Mingo County, McDowell, Mercer County. And we also have a special guest here today, Cody Watson, with us on Motorsports Day to talk about the West Virginia Motor Speedway. Well, we're going to get right into it and talk about what this day means and get with Senator Maynard. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Doug. Glad to be here.
Big motorsports fan, I know you are. Talk about it. Talk about what this day means to you.
Well, it's been my passion all my life, and getting elected to the Senate, I didn't think about being able to grow my passion. It was never even in my mind, and realizing that by supporting this industry, we can grow West Virginia, and also I can be a part of something I enjoy.
You've worked hard to grow this industry and everything, and I know one thing that we want to talk about today is tourism and what motorsports does to West Virginia when it comes to tourism. And we've got Cody Watson right here next to you. Cody, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us here at the Capitol.
Tell me about this West Virginia Motor Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a place that had actually sat idle for 8 years between 2013 and 21. And
where's it located?
It's in Mineral Wells, West Virginia, located directly off I-77, so right below Parkersburg. It's a track, like I said, that sat idle. We brought it back with about $500,000 of improvements over the last year, and we opened back up last year and had a very successful season.
Were you seeing people come from all over?
Yeah, we are. We're getting all kinds of people from in-state, out-of-state. About 50% of our population that comes to the races actually is from out-of-state. So we definitely think we're a big market for tourism and entertainment in the state of West Virginia.
You know, motorsports kind of comes under attack every once in a while with noise ordinances, environmental, and all that. Have you seen any of that when you reopen this? Or?
We haven't. We've actually been pretty fortunate. The Parkersburg community is a big racing community, and they love that we're open back up, and they've done pretty much everything that they can to support us.
Senator Maynard, what more can we do? What can we do from a tourism standpoint, from you all and from just us as legislators to help promote our industry?
I think if we unify with tourism, and tourism can let the public know about the calendar of events and the schedules of different tracks and all the different forms of motorsports in West Virginia. And as legislators, Doug, we can do little changes in the law that will help as far as liability issues, nuisance issues that a lot of times stifle development.
So we have, as a lifelong West Virginian as well, too, I know the industry well, and I just think it's so exciting, the opportunities that we have here, especially when you bring people from other states. Now, you've traveled into other states and participated in different races?
I have. I actually had a touring series myself for a good while, and that's kind of how I got my start in this industry. And so we would travel all across the country and put on races. And then, being from here, born and raised, I was ready to kind of do some stuff back in West Virginia and try to bring people in from out of the state. So kind of repay it and flip that on its head and bring people into the state of West Virginia.
Where were you born, Cody?
I was born in Tyler County, so Middleburn, West Virginia. There's a small track up there, too, that my dad actually leases off a fairgrounds facility, and so we promote it as well.
You've been part of a pit crew, and you've been part of all that?
I have.
Racing's in your blood.
It is. I was born into it. My dad raced ever since I was born, so just something I grew up around and wanted to be a part of.
Well, thank you. It's so exciting for you being here today. It's kind of cool seeing all the cars. And I walked in, Senator, I walked in from the side there and saw a couple of race cars, and I saw some old classic cars as well, too. Yeah. So, Senator, you always have our support on the House of Delegates, when it comes to motorsports, but tourism. I think you hit the nail on the head. Have you spoken with Chelsea Ruby or Secretary Ruby about?
And today at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting with the track owners and to introduce them to the Development Council and Commerce and maybe make some connections there.
Great. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being on the show. I know you got to get back. You snuck out of a meeting. It's day 56 here, and we're counting down the days, right? It's only 4 or 5 days left, but who's counting, right?
Yeah.
Cody?
Yeah, if I can, I want to thank Senator Maynard for everything he's done to try to make this happen, to get us down here. I think almost everybody in West Virginia is representative here to come to this show and this Motorsports Capital Day. So I want to thank Maynard for putting it all together.
I think it's like you got a great family atmosphere here, with this industry and all the people. And I've spoken with some of the vendors everyone can see out here, and I look forward to visiting the rest of them. So
thanks so much, Doug.
Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks, Senator. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
Good luck to the track. I look forward to coming up and seeing some mud fly.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Yep.
All right. Thank you all. We're going to take a quick break on Outside the Echo Chamber, and we come back, we're going to have Senator Ryan Weld talking about Senate Bill 586 and high school athletes and transfer eligibility.
And Marshall wins another one.
I could take any of these guys one-on-one. Oh, really? Oh, no. Ah!
For a limited time, ask about no payments till summer.
Friends and family pricing for everyone, even trash talkers like Wes.
What started as the Parmar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Parmar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Parmar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Parmar store near you now, you will soon. Parmar Convenience Stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We are journalists, staff writers, editors, storytellers. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
Looking for a friendly bank that you can turn to in your community? Bank where the decisions on your needs are made locally. With online banking and 7 locations. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Doug Scaff, and we're here at the Outside the Echo Chamber under the State Capitol Dome on Motorsports Day. But hey, what we're going to talk about right now is Senate Bill 586. Whether it's on a baseball diamond, basketball court, football field, heck, even track or swimming, high school sports are where dreams are made and sometimes even shattered. So imagine the potential of a bill, Senate Bill 586, which would allow high school students to transfer during their high school career without losing a year of athletic eligibility, which is why I'm excited to have today Senator Ryan Weld from the 1st District, who covers, he's actually the majority whip of the Senate, and he also covers pretty much the whole northern panhandle, Hancock, Brooke, Ohio, and Marshall County. Welcome to the show, Senator.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we talk about all the controversial bills out there today. This one is exciting and also has a little bit of controversy to it. So I wanted you just to dive right in, talk about Senate Bill 586.
Sure. So what the bill does is that it would allow for every high school student in the state of West Virginia to have a one free transfer rule. So if a student is at a school, at a high school, whether it be their first, second, third year, and they see another opportunity, whether that be academic or athletic, it doesn't matter. They can transfer to a new school and still retain their athletic eligibility and not have to sit out for a full year, which they currently would have to.
So right now, if they transfer, they have to sit out a whole year, whether they're 9th, 10th, 11th grade, whatever, they sit out that whole year.
Correct. There are two very limited exceptions to that rule, but that is the rule. So even if a kid, let's say, is at a school, sees an opportunity for advanced math classes at a neighboring high school in a different county, and they want to take that, so they transfer. But in addition to being a really good student, they also play basketball. They're not an all-star, but they like being on the team. Under the current rules, they'd have to sit out. They can't even be on the team. They have to sit out from all athletics for a full year before they can play. And I'm not really sure why we would punish a kid for trying to take advantage of an opportunity for whatever the reason might be. And I just think that's what we're doing, and we're allowing the SSAC to insert themselves into the judgment of the parents and that student of what's best for the kid.
So it's kind of like an open door policy where they get to pick, but it could be for academic reasons, could be for athletic reasons, or a combination of both.
Yep. And I don't want to. I think that Ohio has an open door policy because in Ohio you can transfer as often as you would like, and I think that creates a monster where a kid is constantly looking for that starting spot, transferring 3 or 4 times.
Well, that's been one of the questions. So this is just a one time.
This is just one time. Yes.
So you couldn't just transfer 1 year, not like it transfer again the next year, and not be penalized.
This is just one time.
So it passed. Let's see, it passed 30 to 3.
31 to 3.
31 to 3. Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty strong vote in the Senate, and so I was pretty happy with that, and to bring it over to the House. And since this bill passed, a lot of people have come to me with questions about the SSAC and questions about how they handle athletics in the state. People have come forward asking about, well, who do they answer to? Who are they responsible to when they make these decisions? And they have a board, but we as a state have no say who's on that board. And so whether it was questions about, them banning grandparents at high school games, the year before last, or where's the money coming from when they hire these attorneys to try to keep these kids out of school or out of athletics? Because that's what happened in my district, is that there were several students that transferred into a school, and then they had to go to court to get their eligibility. And the court ruled the SSAC wasn't even following their own rules. And so these parents had to hire attorneys to go to court just so their kid could play baseball. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, if you had some testimonials from students that actually happened.
I've got a lot.
What about other parts of the state? Have you talked to students around the state?
I've got my office. This bill, you talk about generating interest. I have received calls at my office from parents all across the state, because I did an op-ed a couple weeks ago that appeared, I think, statewide. And part of it is concerning to me because there's the overwhelming majority of these parents have students that have transferred into a private school. And so is there a bias against private schools with the SSAC? I don't know that, but it seems like the overwhelming majority of these individuals are calling from those schools, and that's concerning to me.
So talk about some of the opposition. Obviously, there's opposition out there, and some of the things is with college. We see what goes on with college now, and this recruiting wars. It seems like every day with almost athletes transferring almost every day. It seems like. Do you have any fear, or some of the opposition said this could open up that type of can of worms in West Virginia? Do you see that happening in the high school level?
I don't, because under the old rules back in 1995, I transferred high schools after my freshman year. I played sports at my new school. I had to go to the SSAC to ask to be able to do so, or my parents did at the time, but it all worked out. I went to my new school. I was on the swim team there. I got a swimming scholarship to Fairmont State, and that's where I went to college.
So have the SSAC, I guess this is something they would have to bless or sign off on, this bill, or they'd have to, we pass the law up here, and then that's what they would enforce?
We pass the law, and then they would have to establish rules in accordance with what we have put into statute.
So this bill now is over here in the House of Delegates, Have you talked to any members over here? What's your take? I mean, what do you think the sentiment is on this side of the
I've
chamber?
talked to members of the education committee and other members. I mean, there seems to be an interest in it. You know, there are questions and concerns, and I've done my best coming over from the Senate when I have, you know, a few minutes to answer that and talk with those people. But I really think, again, when a kid transfers to a new school, oftentimes the most important thing is to find that new group of friends. And as you know, oftentimes a sports team is that new circle of friends, is that new social group. So why are we going to deny kids the opportunity to make those new friends when they get to a new school?
So if they have these opportunities, the bottom line here with your bill, if passed, would allow for 1 year. I mean, they can transfer one time. Without losing a year of eligibility.
Correct.
And that's basically it right there. Now, if they transfer the second time,
then they would have to follow the rules of the SSAC, whether they fall into their narrow exemptions that their whole family moved, or they're transferring back into their what is called their home school.
So they would still have to sit out if they transfer back to, like, say, their home district where they came
Well, no, under those two narrow exemptions, they would be granted eligibility. But anything else,
they wouldn't have to lose a year if they went back to their...
Correct. It's the school in their home district.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit of a convoluted rule.
Okay. Well, no, there you have it. No, thanks for being on the show.
No,
clarifying
thank you.
this bill. You know, it has been a little bit of a hot topic, Bill.
It has.
You talked about high school athletics, and it's always a hot topic.
It
and,
is. Yeah.
You know, we love our sports here in West Virginia, and so the transfer rule is definitely one that definitely speaks volumes of what possibilities.
It's made me very busy this session.
It's kept you busy. That's
yes.
right. So, well, thank you, Senator Weld. I know you got to get back and take care on day 56 here with a few days left to go.
A few days.
As the whip, I know you have a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of votes to count.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you heard it from the lead sponsor, Senator Weld. We're actually going to hear from someone from the WVSSAC as well as Coach when we come back on the opposite side of this issue when we return.
Proudly advocating for workers and their families, the West Virginia AFL-CIO is a group of 600 labor organizations representing 70,000 active and 70,000 retired union members. We represent first responders, healthcare workers, educators, coal miners, construction workers, plant workers, truck drivers, grocery store clerks, and every job in between. We believe every worker has the right to fair wages, good benefits, and a safe workplace. That's what the West Virginia AFL-CIO fights for every day.
The relationship between a lawyer and a client is based on trust. You have to make certain that the lawyer you hire has your best interest at heart. We typically meet our clients at the worst times of their lives, and it's our job to help them. Over the years, we've been entrusted with some of the biggest cases in West Virginia. That's because we have a track record of success and getting exceptional results. We built a reputation as one of the go-to law firms throughout the state of West Virginia.
Joining me, high-profile lawyer Ben Salengo. Ben, it's a real honor to have you on.
In fact, many of our cases come from other lawyers. Lawyers who've worked with us, lawyers who've worked against us, and even those who've merely heard of our results. We're proud of the reputation we've earned in the community for providing exceptional, aggressive legal representation. When you hire my law firm, you don't get excuses, you get results.
We know who we are, where we've been, where we're going. Like hospitals all over America, we are changing, redefining, restructuring ourselves to be the best community health system in the region we serve. We are 2 hospitals with more than 30 locations, 450 providers, and one mission: to heal. As one, we are Thomas Health, caring for our communities today and tomorrow.
Welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber. We just heard from Senator Ryan Weld about Senate Bill 586 and about the eligibility rules with high school athletes. Well, we have some exciting guests with this little roundtable discussion. We like to hear both sides of the view when it comes to pieces of legislation here under the dome. We have Bernie Dolan, the Executive Director of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commissions, which governs, among other things, the athletic eligibility. And we also have Coach Rick Green, the longtime GW high school boys basketball coach with us, as well as Delegate Dana Farrell from Kanawha County, who's been a longtime teacher here and knows a thing or two about athletics. So we're going to dive right into this issue. Senator Bill, I know you all know it very well, 586. We just have Senator Ryan Weld on here stating his case and why he thought this was a good thing. So why not? So why not allow some sort of recruiting type of thing when it comes to eligibility? What do you think about this particular bill here?
Well, first of all, we currently have a rule that's very similar. The difference between our rule and this bill is that we tell you, look at it as an 8th grader going into 9th grade. Go look at any school you want. Pick your choice then, and then take that school, both athletically and academically, because different schools have different schedules. They have some are on block, some are on trimester, some are regular, some start in September, some start in middle of August. So trying to balance all those things, we think it's better academically to get started as a freshman and follow your way through.
So right now, if they get started as a freshman, they wouldn't lose a year of eligibility,
They go
right?
wherever they want.
Go wherever they want. They can start even if it's outside of their district.
Yes, sir. And if they go outside their district and they say, this isn't what we thought it was going to be, we let you come back.
With no penalty.
With no penalty. You got to start at the beginning of the year. You can't go in the middle of the year. But at the end of that year, you can come back and go back to your home school again. And we think that's sound. One, you picked your school based on academics. And then we're letting you, the only time we're going to let you transfer after that is if you want to come back to where all your friends in your community are.
It's not trying to prevent the wild, wild west, so to speak, and you just pick any school you want to go to after that.
Right. And so,
what would this bill do if this bill passed, though?
Right now, if this bill passes, you would see heavy recruiting in both in 10, 11, 12th grade, and we just don't think high school kids who are 14, 15, 16 ought to have the pressures of recruiting. They ought to be able to go find their school academically, wherever it is, and settle in. And if they do transfer and it's against the rules, whether they didn't move, because if you make a bona fide move, you're eligible. And so there's other examples of when you're eligible to move or to transfer, but you're picking that for your academic and athletic reasons. So,
well, we got Coach Green here with us today, and so it's a perfect, good segue for Coach Green. He touched on recruiting, Coach Green. Recruiting athletes to come. I mean, in high school right now, does that exist right now?
It goes on to some extent in certain areas, certain pockets. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They covered it up pretty well, and they know how to, in a sense, get by the system. But this rule is going to be a huge advantage for the bigger schools, because if there's a guard that's in a smaller school and I need a point guard, is he going to come to GW and play and all the media attention, or is he going to stay? So it's going to really hurt the smaller schools. And I'm just against it. Like Mr. Dolan said, the rule is in effect already. And parents, then do your homework and look at where you want your child to go from 8 to 9. This is just opening it up that there's an AU travel team and they traveled as sophomores and juniors. Hey, you need to come with us. So I think it's a smokescreen when you say academics. I think it's just pure recruiting athletically for your individual choices.
Well, you touched on academics here, and we have a teacher there, former teacher right there next to you, Delegate Dana Farrell. You heard the case for opening up this rule here. I mean, what's your take on this from the academic standpoint and from an athletic standpoint?
Well, and I think Coach Green just referred to that, made a good point, and I said it on the radio yesterday when I was addressing this bill, is those parents, I would assume, are focused on academics in their middle school years. They didn't just suddenly decide, okay, academics are going to be important in my kid's junior year. So they have a responsibility to know, coming out of 8th grade year and going into 9th, where my son or daughter wants to go to high school at, and for the best academic advantage. And then, I'm not sure how suddenly the academics just become important in your junior year. And by the way, I want to play sports too, and I want to be able to do it right now. And as Coach Green also referred to, this is going to create unfair advantages. I know for my school, I represent Northern Kanawha County, which is Sissonville High School. And I can say we already bleed some players to George Washington High School and to Charleston Catholic and schools like that. This just opens up the floodgate, and I'm not by myself. This is going to be hard on Clay County. It's going to be hard on Independence High School. It permeates itself across the state of West Virginia. You mentioned, and I'll close with this. You mentioned about, it passed through the Senate 31-3. Well, how in the world is that? Well, remember, senators represent a broad multi-county area. Whereas we as delegates, we represent a district typically, just like I do, one particular high school, and much of it is, we're right down on the ground with the people in the communities, and we see and know how those people, how connected they are to their high schools. I'm not going to ever take a vote up here that goes against the integrity and viability of my school.
And Coach, real quick here, do you think we see what happens with the college portal and how that was opened up and students transferring left and right and going from place to place? Would this create, in your opinion, a bidding war, or would this create some sort of instability? As a coach, how do you plan for that or predict for that if people transfer?
I think it totally becomes a bidding war. And then so the athlete's unhappy because he's the third guard. So I'm out of here. So what are we teaching them? We're not teaching them to sit there, figure out the adversity, figure out how to make it. I mean, are they just going to leave a job when they graduate and go because they didn't like their sales manager, so I'm out of here? I just think we're teaching the wrong things if we're really trying to teach kids things about work ethic, handle adversity, and we're in the business of, we'd love to win, but we're supposed to be trying to help kids grow and mature and make good decisions and handle some adversity, and I think this allows you to run from it.
Bernie, what's your final thoughts here on this?
Okay. Well, as you know, we have 286 member schools, all the public schools plus selected member schools who want to be a member, and they propose our rules, and they vote on our rules. We actually have a bill that is very similar to the bill. We have a rule proposal. It'll be voted on in 3 weeks. And, we've changed this transfer rule 20 times probably in the last 30 years because there's always people getting around it. If it becomes legislation, we have to come back here to change our residence transfer rule. That's going to be problematic. And I think the principals have a vote, and they'll vote in 3 weeks to decide whether they want this. And I think that's where the vote should happen.
Well, we had a change the subject for a minute. We had a article in the paper today that both of you chimed in on. Ryan Pritt wrote, and it talked about the 3 week period in the summertime, about athletes and when they could train. We talked about, I think you were talking about making a plan where leaving it up to each county to decide. Is that correct? Each county school
Currently,
board?
It's each county. There's a proposal amongst our principals to allow each school to make that decision.
Each school. Okay,
Yeah.
so right now each county can decide.
Yes.
And I know Coach Green, it's different for each school and different for each, and that's what you're proposing. You let the school decide. Is that correct?
No, I want the SSAC to decide. I want them to give a window of these are the only weeks, and then you don't get into this hidden agenda by this administrator in this county. They want it here. Then we know. And if there's something about those 3 weeks that I don't like, well, now I got to figure out how to work it out. I can't just say, well, I'm going July. There's no continuity to it. I don't have any idea who we're going to compete against in July because there's only about 2 counties going in July. So I really wish.
But it sounds like some changes are coming to that. Is that correct?
I mean, they're up for a vote. Yep.
Because a lot of the time, and Delegate Farrell, you chime in on this. We here in the legislature, we've seen some pieces of legislation that kind of take some of the control away from the local school boards, and seen legislation that kind of, almost, lack of better terms, mandate what we can and can't teach in the classroom coming from up here.
Right.
So what's your stance on that? Should leaving it back to the county school boards?
Well, and we see that out of both parties up here. Whatever's convenient for the angle or the situation or the topic at hand. Okay, we want to leave it to the local, or no, we need to take control at the legislature. But I'm always for consistency. I think that's true, and I always say this when we're dealing with economic development or business bills up here is one thing that business wants from Wall Street to Main Street is just consistency in the marketplace. If we know what the rules are, we can play by them. And I think that parlays itself a little bit over here, and I think maybe that's where Coach Green was coming by. Just set the rules and let us figure it out, and we'll play by those together.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Delegate Farrell, for being here. Coach Green.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
You do a fantastic job. I always enjoy the games. Very competitive. That fiery spirit on the sidelines there. You can't.
Good luck. Good luck this week.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
You got a big week coming up for you.
Right.
So I know you're busy. You got to get back to that. Bernie, thanks for all you're doing, and I guess we'll continue to watch this.
Girls State Tournament.
You have a busy day today. Started at 9:30 this morning.
The 9:30 this morning, Girls State Tournament.
So let me check your calendar. Let's see. It's called basketball
We'll
for the
be in
next
Charleston
2 weeks, right?
for 2 weeks.
Well, it's always an exciting time.
It is.
From a tourism and revenue standpoint for Charleston, and all the restaurants are packed, and seeing all the student athletes here.
It's a great buzz all over the state because everybody's trying to get here. There'll be 32 teams this week and 32 teams next week.
Oh, it's always a highlight. I used to sell back in the days. I used to sell programs at the state tournaments. I would make 50
we
cents
might
per
put
program.
you back in. Yeah.
I don't know what they go for now, but I know that. Yeah, you bumped them $1. All right, I get $1 commission. Yeah. Dana, that sounds like a pretty good gig for us, man.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got a state tournament memory. Ours is selling programs.
Coach, unfortunately, I was never good enough to play and get there. I think my career ended in 10th grade when I was too slow. I couldn't shoot, and I was too short. So
you should have wrestled.
Yeah, I should have wrestled.
Sounds like Sam Andy talking to me.
But anyways, thanks again for being here today. And we'll continue to watch this legislation, Senate Bill 586, and see where it goes. But I really appreciate your all's perspective.
All right, thank you.
Well, there you heard it right there about Senate Bill 586. We're going to take a short break and come back, and we are going to tell you what's going on here in the next few days.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We are journalists, staff writers, editors, storytellers. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
What started as the Parmar Oil Company in 1967 has grown into 116 convenience stores in 4 states. Parmar convenience stores offer monthly product specials and grab-and-go items. Located just down the street from where you live, Parmar stores are all about being your above-par convenience store. If you don't have a Parmar store near you now, you will soon. Parmar Convenience Stores, neighbors serving your community and making life a little bit easier every day.
And Marshall wins another one.
I can take any of these guys one-on-one. Oh, really?
Oh, no.
For a limited time, ask about no payments till summer.
Friends and family pricing for everyone, even trash talkers like Wes.
Looking for a friendly bank that you can turn to in your community? Bank where the decisions on your needs are made locally. With online banking and 7 locations. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Well, welcome back, and thanks again for joining us to Outside the Echo Chamber. We talk about politics, we talk about opinions, and we talk about perceptions. That's why this show is so unique. We like to take those hot topics, hear both sides of the issue. Please stay tuned and join us on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. for your next episode. As the legislature comes to a close, we're going to have a bunch of people coming to update us on what bills made it through the process, what piece of legislation got stalled in committee, and what final pieces of legislation might make it over the hurdle on Saturday being the final day of the legislative session. If you want to go back and watch our show, go to westvirginiagazettemail.com or heralddispatch.com. We keep all our shows streamed out there. And also, you think we can do better? Please tell us what we can do to make this show. Email us at outsidetheechochamber.com. We welcome all your comments, feedbacks. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to be talking about on Thursday, we're going to be talking about what bills are stuck in the Senate and what bills might be coming back. We talk about all the controversial topics. We talk about those that might make it and those that won't make it. So please, reach out to us. Tell us what topics you'd like to hear from. Tell us about how we can make a difference in your lives and hear from the people who have the power to make those changes. Please write us, phone us, tell us what we can do better. Everyone, I want you to go out there and have a great day, and we'll continue to work hard to bring you all the inside scoop under the Capitol Dome. See you Thursday, 9:30 a.m. right here. Have a great day, West Virginia.